So what's going to happen with the Canadian housing market in 2022? Is it going to crash or is it going to continue to go up? Well, in December, I did the RE/MAX real estate report for 2022. And today I'm going to do the Royal Lepage report for 2022. For those of you that don't know, RE/MAX and Royal Lepage are two huge brokerages here in Canada, and they're actually competitors. So I thought I'd give a different perspective of what's happening in 2022 to see if they both align. So let's get to it. Hi everybody, my name is Connie Sarvananthan and welcome to our channel. If this is your first time to the channel, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out, and make sure you hit that little bell notification so you know every single time we have a new video. Our channel is all about education, so we're trying to teach you as much as possible about real estate in Toronto, Ontario, and Canada. So if you have any questions about real estate, feel free to call, text, email, or WhatsApp, and we'll be sure to help you out. So Royal Lepage did this report, and I'm going to link to the report down below so you can read it in full. But basically their title is Canada's National Aggregate Home Price Forecast to Rise 10.5% by the end of 2022. So they're basically saying that overall Canadian prices of homes are going to go up by 10.5%. And what they're saying is that the Omicron variant is extending the unusually strong housing market. So basically they're saying that now that we have this new variant, it's really causing the overall strong housing market to continue. So let's go into some of the details that they're saying below. So there's 4 key points that they've highlighted at the top of the report. So the first key point is in the GTA. The GTA is the only region where they are expecting the condo market to rise higher than the detached market in pricing. So the condo market, they're expecting the prices to go up by 12%, whereas the detached market in the GTA, the pricing is expected to go up by 10%. And really, that's going to be a factor of affordability. The reason why the condos are going to go up higher is because they're just more affordable. As we get higher and higher in the price range, more and more people will start to consider condos, and therefore you're going to have more activity in condos. The second thing is in Toronto and Vancouver are expected to see the highest aggregate price appreciation at 11 and 10.5%. So when they say highest aggregate price appreciation, that means all types of homes, so condos, townhouses, detached, semi-detached. They're expecting Toronto to rise 11%, and they're expecting Vancouver to rise 10.5%. They're also expecting detached homes in Halifax to rise by 10.5%. So this is interesting because there's definitely a interest in the Maritimes and the East Coast. I've said this before, but I had clients who sold their place in Toronto and they moved to New Brunswick. So they sold their place in Toronto, which was a small 2-bedroom townhouse for $750,000, and then they bought a place for $250,000, a detached home in New Brunswick. So definitely a migration east, and you see Halifax, which is in Nova Scotia, they're expecting those prices to rise by 10.5%. And then followed by Greater Montreal area and Ottawa, which are expected to rise by 9%. And then the final point that they make is that the housing markets are expected to be unusually active throughout the winter season. So generally winter is a little bit quieter, and then spring is when all the activity happens, and that's where you're going to see the most amount of activity throughout the year. But this year they're saying that we're going to have a much more active winter season. And again, I think a lot of that is being affected by the new variant. So those are the 4 key points that they wanted to point out, but let's get into some more details. Okay, so I'm going to go through the report. I don't typically like to read it, but there's some nuggets in there that I don't want you to miss. So basically it's saying following a year of record price appreciation across the country, which is true, it's been record breaking. The average price in Toronto went up 17%. So it's just nuts right now. They are still expecting Canadian home values to rise again in 2022, but at a slower pace compared to 2021. And the reason for that is they're saying there's pent-up demand from buyers who were unable to get houses in 2021, and also the need for shelter from new Canadian household formations and newcomers to Canada. So what that means is immigration is opening back up, and so we're getting a lot of new newcomers to Canada, and household formation, meaning that this is couples that are, procreating, and there are bigger households that are being created. But all of those things combined are going to put pressure on the market, and this market suffers from a chronic supply shortage. And so what they're saying for Canada overall is that the price of a home in Canada is set to rise by 10.5% year over year to $859,700 in 2022, with the median price of a single family detached property and is projected. Those are projected to increase by 11% and 8% respectively. So what that means is in Canada, they're expecting an overall rise of 10.5% to an overall average of $859,700, and then they're expecting detached properties to rise by 11% and condominiums to rise by 8%. This is for overall Canada. And the average price in Canada will now be $918 and $594 for detached and condominiums. And then they go on to talk about the lack of housing supply, which is basically the biggest factor in all of this. And even they say housing is now overvalued, but unfortunately, the level of demand will continue to outpace inventory, keeping the prices upwards. So they say that the price appreciation is going to ease from unhealthy levels that we've been grappling with for the last 18 months. So it won't be as crazy as the last 18 months. So you're not going to see another 17% rise in Toronto, for example. But there's still going to be a lot of activity. And then finally, the pent-up demand not addressed in 2021 is expected to continue through the normally quieter winter season and spill over into the spring market of 2022. So, like I said, usually winter is much more quieter, but because there was so little inventory, there's tons of buyers out there that are ready and willing to buy, and so the winter market is going to be particularly busy. And then the government plans to increase immigration levels, which will bring in new demand, especially in the large urban centers, because the reason for that is that's where the jobs are, and that's where new immigration is going to be coming in. And Canada, we have a strong economy, healthy full-time employment trends, and this emergence of this new variant. They all contribute to the strength of the country's real estate market. So that's basically what they're saying. Overall, it'll be, even though they are expecting everybody was expecting Bank of Canada to raise interest rates. This is saying that with the new variant, it'll be hard to do that. So there might be a delay in rise of interest rates because of the new variant. And employers who had planned to have everybody back in the office now have to back off of those things, which means that now we're going to continue to be at home, which is also going to fuel demand. And then we're going to be looking at all kinds of different variables that will affect overall demand, which with the limited supply is just going to keep pushing pressure on pricing. So last couple of points in their summary is that Omicron is delaying the inevitable of monetary policy. So they are expecting the interest rates to rise eventually, but right now Omicron is delaying that. When inflation gets too much, they're going to eventually have to rise interest rates. But that said, anybody who has a locked-in lower interest rate, when the government decides to raise interest rates, they're going to rush out and try and buy homes so that they can lock in at that lower interest rate. The other thing that Omicron is definitely going to do, which was what happened when all of this started, is people, since they're going to be working at home anyhow, they're going to be looking for bigger spaces, home offices, places for them, their kids, everybody to be at home, online, and doing all of this. So the need for bigger spaces will also drive the market. So overall, they're saying, this activity is causing the market to continue to be strong, and they're saying that because the market is strong, the prices are going to increase. Again, not as crazy as 2021, but they're still going to increase. Okay, so now I'm going to get into the Greater Toronto area specifically. The report has other areas like Montreal and Vancouver and Calgary. So again, I will put that link to the report in the video, but I'm just going to go over Toronto right now. So in the Greater Toronto area, the prediction is for the fourth quarter of 2022, the forecast is an 11% increase year over year to an average home price of $1,256,500. And that's all homes, condos, everything. And then during that period, they're saying that single family detached properties are expected to rise 10% at $1 million to $1,564,000, and then condominiums are expected to rise 12% to $763,800. So again, Toronto's the only market where they're saying that the condominium increase of 12% versus the detached at 10%. It's the only market where the condos are growing faster than the detached homes. The other thing that they mention is that condos in Toronto did take a hit when the whole COVID piece hit initially. There was a mass exodus out of downtown Toronto, and so there was a ton of condos that were available. But now condos are much more active, and it's a way to get into the property ladder, and it's the most affordable thing in Toronto. So people are definitely getting into the market in condos. And this $763,800, that is an average price point for condos. And remember, we have some very expensive condos and very cheap condos in Toronto. So I have a client right now, and her budget is $450,000, and there's lots of choices for her for condos in Toronto at $450,000 as well. So, your budget will determine where the condo is, the size of the condo, all those other things, but there are options at different price points. So that's it for the report. Like I said, if you go further into the report, it'll go into the Greater Montreal area and a bunch of other areas in Ontario. But I wanted to give you an overall view just to show you what Royal Lepage is saying versus what RE/MAX is saying. So that's it. It looks like both Royal Lepage and RE/MAX predict the same things in 2022, which is about a 10% price increase, and the market will continue to be active. It may not be as crazy as 2021, but they are both predicting that 2022 is going to be very active, and certainly more active than other years. I would say that from a reality perspective, we have a supply issue in Canada. And if you're wondering why the prices are so crazy in Toronto, I did a video, which I'm going to link to below, that will explain why the pricing is so nuts. But until we address this supply issue, the activity is going to be strong and the prices are going to go up. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any comments, good or bad, please make them below. I love to hear your feedback. I'd also love to know if there's other information that you'd like to see on this channel. Thank you for joining us. My name is Connie Sarvanandan, and if you have any questions about real estate in Toronto, the GTA, Ontario, or Canada, feel free to reach out, call, email, text, or WhatsApp, and we'll be sure to take care of you.